One signature that was scheduled for today. The Secretariat co-chairpersons Jeanette Mohammed and Dennis Waweru citing late completion and publication of the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020. The event was to be presided over by President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga. KTN News' Daniel Kariuki now looks at a signature collection process that was once conducted by a Coalition of Reforms and Democracy CORD but fell short of the required threshold.
The journey to a referendum is set to officially kick off with a collection of signatures, but the process is receiving criticism and support at equal measure.
So there will be some leaders who will also sign that day. Thereafter, the copies are going to be sent to all counties.
The exercise that is expected to be devolved to the rest of the country, seemingly dividing Kenyans right in the middle.
Mimi sitapiga saini. Sababu kila ndapigia sign sijui ni nini. Tulisikia kuna draft ilitolewa na haijaletwa hapa mashinani tuone ili tuisome.
Hii si msimu ya kusema ni kusign BBI.
Mimi tachora buzi. Hakuna kitu kingine, tachora tu buzi.
Kuna mambo kadhaa yenye imekuwa ikitajwa na baadhi ya viongozi wa huku Murang'a, wengine wanauga mkono, wengine wanapinga, lakini kwangu personally mimi nataka ni ikuje kesho tena mapema tena sana.
Na support personally.
Nandi Governor Stephen Sang warning that the collection of signatures in his county was not welcomed.
In Nandi County, we will not agree and will not accept those signatures. Mtu asikuja kujaribu kutafuta signatures hapa. Hakuna mtu atapeana signature katika kaunti yetu ya Nandi.
It is this back and forth concerning the collection of signatures that has left more questions than answers.
There will always be doubting Thomases in any process.
I want to urge the Secretariat of BBI and those involved to print as many copies of these documents as they practically can and send them to the lowest levels of society in the villages.
Insiders say the process will be carried out under the watch of strategic leaders across the political divide, but largely from the faction that supports the two handshake principles.
Ikuje, tuisome, tuone vile iko, tuone mahali tunaweza amend, hiyo ndio wakati nita make decision. But for now, hata hizo hao watu wenye watakuja kuuliza sahihi zetu, afadhali ni watoroke.
Hata ukiwa unaniuzia buzi, uwezi muuzia buzi, mimi buzi iko kwa nyumbani kwako na mimi niko hapa.
Nimeiona, nimeisoma na mingi ya vitu ambazo zimo hapo ni vitu za kutujenga sisi wa Kenya wote.
A similar exercise was once carried out by Coalition of Reforms and Democracy CORD and flopped for failing to meet the required threshold of 1 million signatures. According to IEBC, some of the CORD signatures were drawings of animals. And in preparations for the drive, President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga hosted women leaders at State House, Nairobi on Wednesday. Daniel Kariuki, KTN News.
So now let me bring in Javas Bigambo, governance expert, joining us now. Thank you so much, Mr. Bigambo, for talking to us here on KTN News Center. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Now, let's begin straight away. So, the BBI report was officially launched in October the 26th, but the next hurdle has been the collection of signatures. Just before we talk about collection of signatures and cancellation, let's talk about the sentiments of Kenyans from that story that my colleague has done, Daniel Kariuki. Some saying they've not read the document. Some don't even understand, they don't understand the content of the document. Some are saying this is not the right time to talk about collection of signatures when it comes to BBI. We need to be handling matters COVID-19 in the country.
Well, first, I would say that time is always right to do what is right, as was said by Martin Luther King Jr. in his time. Now, I think the issue, and I've heard one lady indicating that she has read the document and the things that are in there are good for Kenya. Let's look back a bit after the Bomas conference and the Bomas draft. And then, of course, with the discussion that happened in Naivasha following the Bomas draft, we had the government take the initiative to make printouts of the draft constitution. And we also had circulation of the same as inserts in the newspapers. That has not happened this time round. In fact, if we were just to have that document as it was prepared by the BBI task force team, and prepared and delivered in English, and then we say we want to circulate the same, how many Kenyans and those who will participate in the referendum read and understand English. So it behooves government actually to ensure, and we've got the government printers, make printouts and circulate in English and Swahili the BBI report, so that Kenyans who are able to read can fully read and fathom the contents of that report, the proposals therein, so that even when the collection of signatures commences, people know that, yes, while this is aimed at, or it's toward initiating the process for a referendum, the referendum is toward or determining issues that they fully understand. Right. Today, only a few Kenyans understand. In fact, if we're to pick 1 out of every 10 Kenyans, chances are maybe only 1 or 2 have had the luxury of reading the BBI report recommendations. All right. Most Kenyans have read.
All right. So now, thank you for that answer. So now let's move on to Kenyans are looking forward to President Uhuru Kenyatta, ODM leader Raila Odinga, the handshake partners, officially launching that collection of signatures, 5 million signatures that are needed by the Electoral Commission. And just out of nowhere, the BBI Secretariat comes out to say the amendment, the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020 is not yet ready. Didn't they see this coming?
Well, first, we have got a penchant, and not us Kenyans, but government fellows, of launching stuff from projects that have been launched and many have, stalled midway. The issue of collection of signatures really does not need a huge launch, because when it comes to launching and you involve the president there is a significant costing to it. Whatever should just be done is to pronounce, president can even pronounce from State House, that now officially today there is the commencement of the process of signature collection, not having a ceremony just because of collection of signatures. That's one. Secondly, I think we know that there are various issues that are significant to the citizens of this country that need also to be taken care of or considered. While this process commences, and this is as provided for in Article 255 to 56 of the Constitution, the manner of review or amending the Constitution through a popular initiative, because collection of signatures towards a referendum is for popular initiative. Let us appreciate that there is need for preparation of county governments, all the 47 county governments, so that if at all close to 50% or more of the counties ratify this process, then of course the process moves forward. But there must be some concern. Recently, we had the governor of Nandi County, Honorable Governor Sang, indicating that he, as governor, will not permit the collection of signatures in Nandi County. That raises various fundamental political and even constitutional issues. The issue of inclusivity, the issue of participation of people in a national process such as this. And I have not had any critical reflections on the statements of Governor Sang, even by the persons that are in government today. And that is very important. Governor Sang may not just be speaking for and by himself. Possibly there could be other governors who opine as much as he does. And what about citizens, for example, within his county who want to be a part of the process? Yes, Governor Sang is speaking to matters of COVID and the health concerns thereabout. But now, what about the aspect provided for in Article 10 of the Constitution, the participation of the people in a national process such as this? These are critical issues of political and good and governance that are necessary for discourse. The other thing is this: when this launch of signature collection starts, of course, toward 1 million signatures to be collected, appreciating too the concerns of the IEBC leadership, and Chabukati published their letter, I think yesterday or the other. And IEBC is the one that is supposed now to lead the process of signature verification and then lead the process of civic engagement toward the referendum. Yet the IEBC itself seems to be diametrically opposed.
In fact, Bigambo, allow me, Mr. Bigambo, allow me to cut you short. Let me take you back to, because you've piqued my mind, back to the question I had to ask you about the Nandi governor saying that I will not allow the collection of signatures for BBI to be collected in my county, which then begs the question, will it be an easy ride or a hard ride for the BBI team when it comes to collection of signatures at the county assemblies? Because I know they need at least 24 counties to actually agree with that move of changing the constitution.
It's likely not going to be an easy ride. Nonetheless, given that there is the postponement that has been proclaimed, and after deliberations between the President and Deputy President William Ruto, it is nearly conceivable that Governor Sang may review his position, because we know very well that Governor Sang is a great political ally of Deputy President William Ruto. And maybe his pronouncements are not just to do with matters COVID, but also his political alignment. I'm certain, nearly to a fault, that if at all consensus will be built on these issues as has been pushed by Deputy President, maybe Governor Sang may want to reconsider or will reconsider his position. That's up to him. But what is clear is that when Governor Sang says he will not, and I quote him, "I will not allow signature collection in my county," the question of ownership arises. Does he own the county? Does he own the people? And does that leadership, his leadership of the county, in fact exclude the people from participation in a national democratic political process, such as this matter of signature collection toward a referendum that is actually constitutionally provided for?
So are we likely to see the same drama play out on the floor of the House? Because again, National Assembly has to play a role in terms of whether you're going for a referendum or not. Yet we know there's a big division within Parliament, both at the Senate and at the National Assembly when it comes to the BBI.
As things stand right now, even though there are different voices and factions within Parliament, at the National Assembly and even at the Senate, given the realignments and the reconfiguration of the leadership of the National Assembly and the Senate, the opposition may not be so major as to forestall the process moving forward. But those voices will be very critical. Those who are opposed to the process as it is right now will be very critical. But now, looking at, for example, even considering what Senator for Elgeyo Marakwet, Kipchumba Murkomen has tweeted last night after the postponement of the process, that now this should give room for consensus. It is possible that if at all salient issues, critical issues that would have caused divisions or contestation in the referendum are reconsidered, and the process is opened up for inclusivity of other views, then it is not easy or likely that possibly those factions that were initially opposed to the process may retain their position. They may reconsider if at all the process is opened up for additional thoughts to amend certain provisions within the BBI recommendations.
In fact, the same consensus that Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen is talking about is the same thing the Deputy President, that is Deputy President William Ruto, has been talking about, saying that views of other Kenyans, views of other political leaders opposed to BBI content is supposed to be considered so as to have a consensus. So hence the question, are we likely to have a referendum that is unopposed, like everyone will just vote this is yes, there's nothing like let's vote a yes or a no?
Not likely. There is no possibility that we shall have a homogeneous direction of when we head to the referendum. The issue here is that when there is consensus, consensus is not necessarily on all the provisions and recommendations of the BBI task force. Consensus that is being sought here seems to be on certain critical issues. One amongst them is the elevation or otherwise of the Senate to be the upper house. the issue of the provision of 70% women, for example, positions or seats within parliament. So, and related issues. Right. So these are the contested issues that various factions or leaders are calling for consensus about.
Right. Okay.
The issue of consensus is not on every provision within the recommendations of the BBI report.
All right.
So as long as, and to the extent that the critical, contentious issues are properly deliberated on and then the political factions agree upon those issues, then the referendum will be non-contested to the extent that there will be no clear divisive lines or issues that will draw various groups apart.
All right. Jeffers Bigambo, on that note, I'd like to say thank you so much for talking to us here on KTN News Center concerning matters BBI, the collection of signatures that was cancelled. It was supposed to happen today. Taking us to another commercial break here on KTN News Center. I see you again in just a few minutes for the second hour of News Center.